Hey everybody, was not expecting to bring you a video this quickly on this next G.I. Joe Retro item, but I got a tip that this G.I. Joe Retro item was on sale on Amazon, overnight shipping. What am I talking about? I am talking about the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover Megatron HISS tank with Baroness retro figure. Let's talk about it. Okay, so yeah, I was not expecting this at all. I was shocked. I was having a conversation with a fellow collector on Facebook and actually saw that he had posted a review of the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover exclusive HISS tank Megatron with Baroness retro figure. And I was like, sure, I'm going to look this thing up. I mean, let's see how long it can take to get. I have two on order from Pulse, which of course have not shipped yet. Seems to be a reoccurring theme, don't you think? Stuff ordered through Hasbro Pulse, that you pay the membership for to get things like these exclusives early. I don't know if this one was necessarily, but the point being is another item being sold outside of Pulse that you can get much quicker than trying to get directly from Hasbro, which is very strange to me. So, all that said, I went ahead and ordered one from Amazon. It was listed as overnight shipping. Now, I'm in the Denver metro area, so we have Amazon warehouses all over the place, and they're very, very close to where I live. So my guess is this showed up at my doorstep this morning at 8 a.m. sharp. I did not expect it. I think whenever I ordered it, it said, hey, you'll get it by between 5 and 11 p.m. the next day. I was like, that's perfectly fine. If it comes in that early, it's awesome. But got it this morning, 8 a.m. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to crank out a video this morning. We're going to look into this thing because I am excited for this. I think a lot of us that grew up in the 80s that were G.I. Joe and Transformers fans, this is like what we always dreamed about having. Oh, I mean, especially in the later issues of G.I. Joe, especially, we saw Megatron and Cobra Commander team up. And of course, he wasn't in his tank, and then he was just in his typical V2, I believe, the neon green colored tank. But I mean, we always thought about this. How cool would it be to have a crossover? And of course, they did it with the San Diego Comic-Con G.I. Joe exclusives back during the 25th line, where we got, I think the first one they did was Starscream, and then they did, people are going to wind up correcting me because I can't remember this stuff. We did Starscream, they did Jetfire was the last one I believe they did. They did Hound as a vamp. Who else did they do? They did a HISS tank, Shockwave as a HISS tank. And I feel like I'm forgetting another one. But, they've done it before, but they haven't been Transformers. They've just been the G.I. Joe vehicles painted up to look like their Transformer counterpart. But this is cool. This is something that they debuted, I don't remember, back in 2020 maybe. Maybe it was 2021. That they were working on this. And then, of course, it comes with the retro carded Baroness that we're going to look at here in a minute. And then there's also the upcoming, we haven't heard much about it, but I believe there's going to be an All-Striker Bumblebee with Sergeant Stalker retro figure. I'm really looking forward to that. That's kind of been quiet. But all that said, I mean, we've got this here. Enough looking at my ugly mug. Let's talk about what we've got in this package. Let's do it. Okay, this is a magnificent box, first of all. I have not even broken the seal on it yet. I probably should have done that before I started recording, but as you can see, it's sealed. Let's show you from the top. I started breaking it, then I stopped. It's sealed at the top, and it is sealed in the center, and I'm going to try to pull that off. Well, first of all, this box is a fairly hefty sized box. We are looking at, helps if I do the tape measure the right way, over 15 and a half inches across, 10 inches tall, and, sorry for going off the screen, about 5 inches deep. This is a huge box. And, of course, you got on the left side the Transformers purple decal for the Decepticons. Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye, Evil Decepticon, Megatron HISS tank. And then, of course, you got the classic G.I. Joe exploding background on the right side with Baroness, your HISS tank. And the window, because this again is the plastic-free packaging. So instead of actually having a plastic window, they've just simulated it by giving it like a sheen right here and trying to illustrate that the Baroness is behind there. So, like I said, we've got a plastic piece of tape, plastic tape, whatever you want to call it. Comes off fairly easy. I mean, it left a little bit of a mark on it, but nothing major. And then I don't know if it'll open or if there's one on the bottom. Let's find out. Oh, there's one on the bottom. So let's flip it. And of course, on the bottom, you've got your, something's rolling around in there. That's not good. Anyway, you've got your crossover G.I. Joe Transformers collaborative. So I don't know what the X means. I guess that just means X for crossover. So let's get this last sticker off real quick. I apologize. Way too excited to open this. So didn't do much prep on the before the shoot. So you can see there's a little residue that's left over. So I don't know if you plan on, I don't think anybody that's going to open it like I am is going to put it back in the box, but let's see. So it should just split open. He says, hoping. He says it's not working. There's probably another one. Okay, well, you know what? We need to look at the back anyway. Sorry, way too excited, nerding out here a little bit. Again, this is something that as a kid of the 80s and 90s, this is what I wanted, and it's so cool to see it. But let's talk about it before I get ahead of myself. Split down the side again, or split down the middle. We've got the HISS tank Megatron version on the left, showing the Baroness in the cockpit. And then obviously on the right, we've got Megatron fully transformed into robot mode with the Baroness action figure to show you the scale difference, which looks very cool. I love it. 28 steps. I can tell you right now, I will not be transforming it on the video. I will transform it and then we'll split that up so you don't have to watch me. But let's get that last piece of tape off, which is kind of hard to see since it's right here. Oh, man. Sorry. Way too excited about this. Basically, because I'm also excited because I've got Retro Cobra Commander sitting over here somewhere and a couple of officers and troopers that I want to put around this guy. Okay, so let's take it. Let's spin it around. Try it for the third time. There we go. Much better. So inside is just another standard Hasbro box. But you can see it is marked at the top G.I. Joe 2022 Transform Megatron HISS tank crossover. So that's super cool. And then I'm going to assume there is another. I do not like hearing that. Oh, here we go. So there's a top secret. Surveillance has detected spies scouting Cobra base. Unauthorized vehicle is identified as Subject B. Be prepared to intercept. Their sting is sharp, but we are poised to strike. Interesting. Okay. So let's get this guy open and see what we're dealing with here. Okay, this is not tape. This is just a box that, oh, hello. Sorry. It is not taped. It just opens straight up. And lo and behold, can I even get him in focus? There he is. Megatron. That's so awesome. Interesting. I thought this was supposed to be plastic-free packaging, but clearly it's not. Almost plastic-free. Interesting. I figured that it was the plastic-free packaging that would be using the rope paper tie-downs, but this actually has plastic holding Megatron in. So we're going to pull Megatron out without knocking over my setup here. I work in a very limited space, so I apologize that if I bump the camera again. Oh, come on out. Okay, Megatron is out. And I am very confused right now. So there's the steps to transform him. And then the little warning stuff that they have to put in here. So I'm going to move this box out of the way. There is still something sliding around in this box. Oh, well, okay. I think it's important to show this. Very scary. There is a screw just floating around the bottom of this box. Oh, Hasbro. Okay, we're just going to shake that screw out. I've always been told that I have a screw loose. Maybe this is just a manifestation of that. So yeah, no idea where that goes. We'll just set it off to the side. So I haven't looked at the back of this yet. I'm really hoping that the Baroness figure's on the back. Oh, there it is. So, interesting, on the back we have the Baroness in a separate protected piece of cardboard. Okay. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to, in case you want to see how it looks there, I'm going to cut to commercial, so to speak, get this all out, and we will start reviewing it. Stay tuned. Okay, so we've got Megatron in robot mode, and I actually had to turn my camera the other way to get him to fit on the screen. And wow, he's a big boy. So I'm going to do a quick pan real quick so you can just kind of see, because obviously I still couldn't get him all in there. So there's his blaster. The back of the HISS actually is a shield, is what the instructions show it as. And yeah, this guy is not too shabby. I wouldn't know what type of class he is because I don't remember those from Transformers. You know, if he's a... Oh gosh, I can't even think of the name of him. Somebody that knows Transformers better than me, tell me in the comments what class he is based on... Let's see. If we don't count the top of the HISS tank canopy, because it folds backwards, I just didn't have room, so I stuck it straight up. If we don't count that, what are we clocking in at here? We are clocking in at just shy under a foot. So I would say like right around 11 and a half inches from the back canopy cockpit of the HISS tank down to his feet. So not small. So he first thing I noticed when I was working on this, actually took me a few seconds, or minutes rather, was trying to get this attached. And I just dropped his shield. That's fine. We'll talk about that here in a minute because I do have some gripes about that. This just, you'd think it snaps on, and it does, but there's basically like a sort of T-bar that it attaches to, and it's very tight. So I used just a little bit of grease, can't remember the kind I got, but put it on the knobs, popped it in, and it was able to go in finally. You're not going to be able to force it. You're going to potentially break it. So going back to the fragility of this, actually, let's talk about that for a second. He is, I feel like if I go to transform him here in a minute, that I'm going to break him. He just feels a little too flimsy. I mean, he's not, but at the same time, I'm just like, I am a nervous wreck that I'm going to break this thing when I go to turn him into robot mode. Or I'm sorry, turn him into vehicle mode. But man, he is nice. So, like I said, there's the gun, and there's also this, the back of the HISS tank is supposed to be a shield, and that's what I want to talk about. There is a peg for it on the back. This peg is very small, or very short, I should say. So he can hold it, and it shows him holding it like this in the picture, which is kind of weird. Mine's probably not going to have it. I'm not going to leave him out with that peg, or with him using it as a shield. He's Megatron. He doesn't use shields. He's all offense all the time. But yeah, so one thing it is cool, we'll go back, start here. The detail on the plastic is very nice. So they actually did some work on the inside, so you can, it's like the interior of Megatron or the HISS tank. And then they also did that, if we spin him around, on a lot of parts. So like if we look in here, I mean, they did a really good job making it look cool. So you get to see all the inner workings, and they didn't have to do that. They could have cheaped out and made it just flat, but they actually took some time to make it look like mechanical. And I apologize that I'm not doing a great job of getting a shot of that. But I mean, it's not too bad. The back of the figure, if you were to look at him, pretty much like that. They got these different hinges, and again, I guess this will showcase it again. They just put some extra thought into these. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just a level of detail that is pretty nice. So I will give them that. And again, there's a lot of empty plastic space, but it's a Transformer. It's not like a third-party one that's going to be all crazy and you're going to spend, hundreds and hundreds of dollars for. This is a Hasbro released product at a price point of, I believe, $90. And this is not too bad. If it didn't include the Baroness and it was just a HISS tank, in my opinion, $90 is perfect. So, yeah. As far as articulation, we can go through it real quick. I mean, there's his feet. They just fold back. It's kind of just like any other Megatron. The knees don't really bend because it's going to be turning into a HISS tank. And again, nothing on here I want to force, because I do feel like if I start forcing stuff, things are going to change. Hey, remember earlier when I said I was missing a screw? I don't see one there. Let's look at the other leg. This one definitely has two. It's hard to see on the camera. Let me check this one again. Yep, that one's missing the screw. So this hole is where the screw was that fell out. So, okay. -1. These drop down. I forgot to drop these down earlier, because that's what he should look like. And yeah, he's got the elbow ratchets that move, so you can put him in a little bit better posing. But I mean, this is a solid Megatron figure. I'm enjoying it. Oh golly, I suppose we should probably try transforming him into a HISS tank, huh? All right, because I want to do it, even though I'm scared I'm going to break something. Let's turn this guy into a HISS tank. Stay tuned. Okay, geez. For anybody wanting to keep track, it took me 40 minutes to get this transformed into the HISS tank. And first impressions, again, I'm not great at doing Transformer figures. I mean, I either used to get Transformers that were like very high quality and very easy to do and snap together very well, or I didn't do them at all. I didn't transform them like G1 stuff. I don't think I ever hardly transformed those even as a kid. But this was very difficult to transform for me. Stuff does not quite snap together. Again, I'm not an expert at this, so I think, if you look at it, does it look like a HISS tank? Yes. But does it set straight? No. And the biggest issue I had was getting these treads to line up and snap. And you can see I don't have them perfectly aligned. Now, if I can take it a little bit, I'm making it worse. But I did it. It took 40 minutes. It looks nice. You can see there's the bottom of Megatron's chest. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's cool. It works for me. It rolls. The turret still turns if I can, there we go. It is what it is. And of course, the canopy opens. And if we take a gander down in there, you can see it's a typical HISS tank looking cockpit. But I mean, it's cool. I like it. And you can see that lifts up a little bit. That's how it snaps down. But, is it an engineering marvel? Absolutely. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it is cool. So, with that, there's your HISS tank. Megatron in HISS tank mode. And, of course, we would be remiss to not talk about the driver of this HISS tank. So, we're just going to back Megatron out slowly. And we are going to bring in Baroness on her retro style card. So just let me re-angle the camera. And yeah, so we have the Baroness on the classic retro card with the classic art, Cobra the enemy, backpack up there like the original. I don't remember if the original had the gun on the side or if it was just, I think it was just in the bubble floating around. Maybe I'm wrong. Big thing is the first notice people have pointed out in other videos is that the masking over the eyes is a different shade versus the plastic cast of the head. It's not terrible. It's noticeable. Is it going to deter somebody like me? Not so much. I like it. Now, I think Baroness is one of those vintage figures. If you wanted to get the vintage one and leave this mint on card, great. You won't have that issue with the plastics being different colored versus the paint app over the eyes. But this is pretty good. So The back, of course, has the file card, multilingual. And then we have the picture of the box art from the outside of the Cobra HISS tank outer box. And that's really cool. Now, I am in a predicament right now because I want to open this, but I only have one. And it's very difficult for me to, if I only have one of something that's so nicely carded, to want to open it up. Now, if this had been dinged up or something, I wouldn't have cared. I would have ripped into it immediately. But man, I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to open this one, which is unfortunate because I really want to do the review of it. So just to compare, I don't have a vintage Baroness to compare it against. So I think I'm just going to leave it on the card for now. But I can compare it to some of the other G.I. Joe retro figures we've gotten. So let me grab one real quick. Actually, here's a good comparison. So we have the new Cobra Commander, which I need to get my review out on, and the Baroness. And the first thing you might notice is there's no warning on this one. It's very interesting. And there's no 4+ because I guess since the HISS tank Baroness Megatron combo was being sold as an adult collectible, that's probably why they don't have to put the 4+ versus this was going to be sold at mass retail, even though it's still a Hasbro exclusive. I mean, that's just my guess, right? But it kind of makes sense. The cardstock on this is I think it's the flimsier style. Well, I almost need to get another Cobra officer set out and see if that's... Yeah, this is the flimsier style. This is the thicker card back that they've just recently released. So it's not terrible. The back, let's see if there's any difference from these. So obviously you don't have the cross cell with the Baroness. You also have some slightly different, you got the yellow with the red insignia versus the black. But yeah, and mine, it came like this. It was already punched, so I don't know if that's just how it is or if they all come punched or if you might get lucky and get one that's unpunched. But let me go ahead and move Cobra Commander out of the way. So yeah, this is very nice. Again, Baroness with her assault rifle, laser weapon, and her classic backpack. I just don't think I'm going to be able to bring this one off the card, unfortunately. I'll have to consider getting another one. Which I may. We'll see. But let's go ahead and roll Megatron back in here. Let's pull Baroness out of the way. And I do have some retro figures that we can test out in the tank. So, got my handy dandy bag of figures over here. So, of course, we've got the retro Cobra Trooper. Fits right in there and immediately seems too short to be using the turret. That's probably just because of Megatron's gun on the top. Makes it look a little silly. But it does fit. And, of course, we can put in the Cobra officer, which I was told that these have a defect. If your figure's officer's leg doesn't bend 90 degrees and you consider that a defect, then, you know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I mean, it doesn't bend all the way, and that's definitely an issue for some. But to me, it doesn't bother me too much. But put our Cobra officer in here. Close the canopy. And there we go. You've got your retro figures in your retro Megatron HISS tank. So yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I'm glad you guys stuck with me through this and glad I was able to transform it. I'm definitely going to probably turn it back into Megatron. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll leave it like that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, let me see. If you were going to get this, like I said, it's $90. Hasbro hasn't released them yet. I got this through Amazon. So if you want it, you can go out today. You can get it on Amazon. As far as I know, they are still available. If you have Prime, you'll get free shipping on it. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, And stay tuned. Like I said, I've got more retro figures I need to review. I've got Tomax and Zaymont are going to be coming up on the channel real soon to be reviewed. And I've also got a whole bunch of, if you're interested in He-Man Masters of the Universe, I've got a lot of videos I'm going to start up on those. I've got a stack of unopened toys around me that I definitely want to break out and definitely want to share reviews with you. So again, if you like the video, click the like button. That helps out with the algorithm. The algorithm? I can't talk today. Sorry, folks. That Megatron took it out of me. Have a good one. See you later.